to welcome everybody out here to the heart of Senate District 8. Thank you so much for coming, because we need some support for the next senator for Senate District 8, Phillip Huffines. Okay, come on up, Phil. I can tell you all about him since obviously we look alike. We are identical twins, as you probably know, but I can tell you, he's a business guy, and we need more businessmen on the floor of the Texas Senate. I need some help down there. I need his help, because he believes in liberty. He believes in freedom. He knows that God gave you your liberty. He understands that, and he's going to talk about that. But okay, let's just give it up here for Phillip Huffines. Right. Thank you, brother. Well, a big thank you to each and every one of you for coming out today. It really means a lot. It's a beautiful Saturday. So thank you very much. Holly and I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and your support. And a big thank you goes to two very important individuals. Our host today, where's Mr. Brinkman? Is he out? Mr. Brinkman? Baxter? Okay, well, he may not be here, but he's just so generous to have this ranch available to us, and he's such a great supporter. And, of course, Maureen Dickey donated the barbecue. And I know everybody raise your hand if you love Dickey's barbecue. There you go. Thank you very much, Maureen, for the barbecue. Well, my campaign's been going on for about 6 months, and it's going really well. And I want to tell you, I gain more momentum every single week, and I'm just amazed at the amount of grassroots support that I continue to get. But the success of my campaign is really attributable to only one person, and she's here today. It's my beautiful wife of 31 years and the mother of our 3 great children, Haley, Hayden, and Garrett. Where's Miss Holly? There she is. And I really appreciate most of the advice I get at night. Well, as Brother Don mentioned, and he kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but as you know, I get around, and the campaign is successful because I get around twice as often as everybody here, because I have an identical twin brother, and we think just about alike, so I really appreciate that. And in fact, we look so much alike that when we were in elementary school, in first grade in particular, we came home several times, and we'd complain to my mother. I'd say, "Mother, nobody knows our name." She goes, "What do you mean?" "Well, they just call us twin. That's all they ever call us is twin." And she said, "Well, I'll fix that." And she sewed a P on my shirts and a D on all the Don shirts so they could call us by our correct names. And my mother's here today, this afternoon. She's right back there. Let you raise your hand. A big gratitude goes out for her coming. And her sister is sitting next to her, my aunt. She's 92, and my mother's 89. Thank you, ladies. She's been quite an inspiration throughout my life. Now, I know what you're curious about is why am I running to be your next state senator. But before we get there, I think it's very important that you know my political philosophy, because this is the foundation of everything I believe as far as when it comes to politics. Ladies and gentlemen, you are born with your liberties and your freedoms. God gave you those at birth. And the main purpose of government is to preserve and protect your individual liberties from those that can take it, which is the government and criminals. So that is my political philosophy. It underpins all of my thought process when we talk about government or legislation. Now, why am I running? Well, let me tell you, I have always been passionate, deeply passionate about liberty and about freedom, American exceptionalism, and even Texas exceptionalism. And so now is an opportunity has presented itself for me to truly make a difference in Collin County and SD8. To be a significant difference, to become, with your support, the next state senator representing SD8. Now, I remember as a child, my mother's here, and Don we were talking about this on the way out here. We would sit around the dinner table and have discussions, sometimes political, but not always. And then Don reminded me we had assigned seats. Don sat on my left, Brother James and Ray sat across the table, and Mother and Dad were at the end of the table. And my father would lean back in his chair, and he would always say, not always, but on many occasions, "Boys, when you have the opportunity, the community has been good to us, and when you have the opportunity, you have to give back. You have to be involved in the community." Well, we always heard that, and Huffines have been giving back for decades here in the community. But those words really rang true when he passed away in 2009. And that's when I started to really give back and get active. Now, I've always been active in Republican politics because I told you it was part of my DNA. So I started off with Republican politics with Ronald Reagan, helping Bill Clements get elected when I was at University of Texas, and always working. I've been a state delegate, a national delegate, and I've always been passionate about making sure that the Republican Party was the prominent party and that our Republican message was spread throughout the state of Texas and throughout the nation. Now, let me give you a little background before I continue about why I'm running. A little background on our history. I'm fourth, fifth generation Texan, and my forefathers came here, my great-grandfathers, in the late 1800s. And you may have bought a car from my granddad, or you may have bought a car from my father, and hopefully you bought a car or truck from my brother Ray fairly recently. That would be great. See, we've had the same business in this area for over 90 years. And I greatly have some really fond memories of growing up here in Collin County. My dad had a farm, or really it's kind of a small ranch, and he loved to work cattle. And so we worked Hereford cattle. And on that ranch, that farm, it was on a little gravel road, now known as Midway Road and Plano Parkway. And so I grew up there learning my Texas values, how to hunt and how to fish and how to swim right here in Collin County. And in fact, my very first business, I'll tell you this. So Don and I are standing around, and it's the bicentennial. That kind of tells you how old we are. And he said, we got to go make money at the bicentennial. Let's sell fireworks. I said, great idea. So we opened up multiple fireworks stands, and our very best location was on a little two-lane asphalt road. And I'd sit there as I was running that location for several minutes waiting for cars to come by so we could sell fireworks. And that is Highway 121 at Legacy. Now it's an 8-lane freeway. So we have seen Collin County transform from a rural farmland environment to the urban mecca that it is today. And in fact, my business career is in real estate and real estate development, and we've spent most of our career building roads and infrastructure, water towers, and in fact, if you look right out on the horizon here at those housetops and those rooftops, we used to own 1,000 acres over there and develop that and put in an El Dorado Parkway and Hillcrest and Panther Creek Boulevard and put in all the infrastructure for those couple thousand homes over there. And in fact, over 20,000 people live in our communities here in Collin County and in Denton County and in the area, over 20,000. So we've been very active. I know this area very well my entire life. Now, I'm going to give you an example of taking business skills into the political arena. About a year ago, I got a phone call. See, I'm a business guy, not a politician. I'm not doing this for ego or glory. I'm doing this for what's best for SDA in the state of Texas. And I get a phone call about a year ago last summer that, hey, I need to go run the Dallas County Republican Party. And I said, no, I'm really just not interested in that. It's just in disarray. The party was totally bankrupt. It had $150 in the bank. We're talking about the Dallas County Republican Party, the 11th largest county in the nation. So I said, okay, I'll do it because it's time. I could hear my father saying it's time to give back. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I was elected to that position with over 80% of the vote. And the reason this is important because I promised three things, and I've gotten all three things accomplished in less than a year, which is more than anybody's accomplished in 10 years. And that was to put the party on sound financial footing, to unite the party, and to take the fight to the Democrats. Ladies and gentlemen, within 6 weeks, I had raised over $250,000. This was last August. We had our fall election. We preserved and protected our flank, so to speak, with our House reps, and the party is now on the offensive. We have all new staff. We are taking the Republican message and we are spreading it to all areas of the county, especially areas of the county and groups of the county who have not heard about Republicans in decades. We are making a difference. We are taking the fight to the Democrats. We're up from 180 precinct chairs to 250 precinct chairs. So it's been very successful. And our Reagan Day dinner last March was twice as successful as any other dinner with the amount of money raised and the attendance, because 70% of those donors, ladies and gentlemen, had never donated to the party. And the reason they did is because they had a businessman, an individual like myself, who could present a strategic plan and explain how we're taking the party back and what we're doing. Well, let me kind of tell you, this campaign has been going on for 6 weeks, 6 months. I've been working really hard, knocking on doors. And let me tell you, I've been listening to the voters. And this is why I'm running. Because the voters are telling me what's important to them. Number one, we have to secure the border. Ladies and gentlemen, Texas spends $400 million a year in your taxpayer money taking care of the federal government's responsibility for securing the border. That's $1.2 million a day with extra DPS, extra airboats and aerial reconnaissance to secure the border. We need to get the wall built as soon as possible and save the taxpayers a lot of money and secure the border, keep Texans safe. Another issue that comes up when I knock on doors and talk to voters is health care. Health care is in shambles. We've got to repeal Obamacare, and we've got to get the money from the federal government to the state in block grants so that we can make sure that Texas can put market principles, free enterprise back into the healthcare system so that your healthcare is between you and your physician and not regulated or rationed by the state of Texas or the federal government. The third issue that comes up is property taxes. We know that property taxes continue to increase and they're too high. They go up 8 to 10% a year. It's a two-edged sword. Suppose that your property is worth 8 to 10% a year more. But ladies and gentlemen, the local governments that tax you on your property taxes have plenty of money. The way we limit government and preserve and protect your liberties and freedom is to limit government. We limit the revenue that government receives. We've got high rises and construction and new houses and new development all over SD 8. The local governments have plenty of money. They need to lower their tax rate so that you are not spending any additional funds on your property taxes. Another issue is education. Collin County has great schools and pockets of exceptionalism, but the state of Texas needs help. And I will tell you this, that the funding mechanism that we have in the state of Texas for schools is totally broken. It has been passed in every legislative session since the early 90s, and it's time we replaced it, and time we start from ground zero with zero-based budgeting. We look at every aspect of how we fund schools, every aspect of what the school's purposes are, and what the role is of the state of Texas in schools, and how we can get more competition in schools. That's what we need. We need to make sure that the parents are accountable to the children and accountable to the schools. So we need to revamp the entire funding mechanism of how we fund schools. And lastly, when I go to the doors, this one comes up a lot, and they'll say, Huffines, I think the homeowners say, Huffines, we really need you in the Senate. And I say, well, why is that? They said, because we want to make sure that Collin County stays prosperous. We want job growth. We want our children to have opportunities that we have. We want our grandchildren to have opportunities. You see, my campaign is really about several things. But it's about making certain that the American dream is alive and well and always will be here in Collin County. That you and your children have the opportunity to reach your highest potential, to succeed or fail through hard work and through education. You know, the word America and the word Texas are both nouns and both verbs. So when you hear the word Texas, it's a geographic region and it's also a verb because images come into your mind. Well, what does that mean? Well, Texans are fiercely independent, right? Texans don't need a nanny state. When you hear the word Texas, you think opportunities, you think liberty and freedom. You think of a cowboy riding his horse in the prairie and running up cows and making a living and doing well. It's also about friendship and taking care of fellow Texans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what happens in Collin County. Collin County is the same. You see, North Texas created 130,000 jobs last year. Collin County was a significant part of that. And it's imperative that the next state senator be a business person, an individual like myself, who has the leadership skills, the experience that is necessary to keep Collin County free and prosperous so that we can limit government, we can roll back unnecessary regulations, and we can create job growth. And that's exactly what I'm going to do when I get to Austin. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for coming. And let me tell you this. I know this for a fact. That if we all work together, we will enhance the greatness of the greatest state in the Union. And that is Texas. So I'm asking for your vote and your support.